Bourbon 101. Bourbon is composed of at least 51% corn. In addition to corn, it can include malted barley, rye, and or wheat. These grains, once harvested, are put through a milling process. The milling process breaks the grains down, and once they're broken down into smaller pieces, they are put into a water vat, if you will, and cooked. Once they get to a specific consistency, a yeast is added. The yeast takes the sugars that have been broken down by the cooking process from the corn, the barley, and the wheat and or rye, and that yeast will break down the sugars and convert them to alcohol and carbon dioxide. Once this process is complete, the liquid is put into a still. The still continues to cook and heat up this mixture in an effort to separate the alcohol and water from the mash or the grain. As it cooks and heats up, it evaporates and goes through the still and then condenses into its liquid form, again, water and alcohol. The goal is to get to a specific alcohol percentage in the distillate or the liquid that is condensed from the still. Once this process is complete, the alcohol is pumped. Specifically with bourbon, it's pumped into new American oak barrels, pumped into these barrels and then stored in a rick house, or as you can see from the photo, or a barn essentially that stores the barrels that are full of bourbon for at least 2 years. It must be aged at least 2 years in order to be considered a bourbon. After that process, then the liquid is, or the bourbon in this case, is of course removed. Many barrels are mixed together in order to create a specific bourbon that they would like to, and then bottled, and then of course sold for consumption.